They suddenly are aware of it and now see just how they contributed to literally the calamity, the fall of all of society. Just single-handedly, just them alone. What contribution they added to the sorrow in the world and the blasphemy too. Because it's hard to love anything. Well, when you are not loved, we are not God. It is written in God's word that He loves us. We love Him, because He loved us first. The Lord is able to love without reciprocity. After all, in the beginning, it was just Him, the Father, the Holy Spirit, the Son. He doesn't need us. We need Him. So therefore, God can be benevolent in spite of reciprocity. We, however, are creatures of receipt. God breathed into us and we became living souls. Apart from Him, we can do nothing. Therefore, upon if at all receipt is exsanguinated from the room, if we can't receive, we struggle to give. We struggle to be selfless. We kind of need motivation. We need a propellant. We need jet fuel. And if at all this jet fuel is exsanguinated from the root, even the saint struggles to love. The Bible says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, and a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. There's yet another scripture that I want to Google. I listen to scripture meditations every so often, just rolling and rolling as I'm moisturizing my face after washing it in the morning. And this here scripture pops up and I'm like, oh my goodness, amen, I can relate. It goes something along the lines of, heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop, but a longing, it's a proverb. Listen, I need to Google it. Heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop. Yeah. Heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop. Anxiety weighs down the heart of a man, but a good word makes it glad. Proverbs 12:25. Heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. Yeah. When your heart is stooping, it's hard to give your all, because when your heart is weighed down, you are sick. How many people, when they are on their deathbed, are able to basically enable the cause of everyone they love? How cool. Because listen, the heart brokenness is an illness. It's a real and living illness that also transfers over to mental illness. If you are sick, dying from stage 4 cancer of sorts, even though you love your children, you're not gonna be able to tell them that you love them. When you are busy just wheezing and in anguish pertaining all this pain in your body, when meds are not doing anything, you're gonna struggle to essentially notice that your daughter has grown into a beautiful young woman. You are also going to be writhing in so much pain in your body that you're not going to be able to work, and so therefore provide for your children's fees. So they're going to have to drop out of school, or they're going to have to try and make ends meet some other way. A father that was able to do everything for his children now can't anymore, so everybody has to downsize their homes. And because of how sick they are, sometimes they might feel like they're a burden to everybody, and so start to withdraw because they don't want everybody to be too worried about them. Therefore, a person that was under normal circumstances quite bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and doughy-eyed will be aloof and no longer as doting as he used to, because the body is sick. Well, that is physical sickness then. If you are terminally ill, you cannot take care of people that under normal circumstances you would do anything and everything for. Well, then translate that over to a heartbreak. When you are stooping in the ground, you're going to struggle to be doughy-eyed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, happy all the time. Notice that your daughter has grown into a fine young woman. The way that narcissistic mothers struggle to have gladness over their daughters. They're jealous because they are bereft and they're heartbroken and they're unloved. An unloved woman that gets married, the earth cannot bear up under her. That is God's word. Yeah, so I mean, really, if your heart is stooping like that and you are not getting a good word to make your heart glad, when no one is, well, yo guys, these occult practitioners, they have closed me from all support. I get no emails no more. Nobody saying, Karabo, I'm praying for you, nothing. They have shut down even my donations, making sure I don't even get a single cent. And they've also, over and above shutting down my donations, done a ritual to make sure that in particular I don't get dollars. So I am broke, luckily. For no other reason than the fact that they're trying to make me lean on no one but them. But a man like that is essentially ruling a woman with an iron fist cannot love her. So stooping like this, I'm sad, I'm bereft all the time. And I therefore cannot even do basic things like love my cat the way I would love my cat. When a woman is not loved by her husband, it will ooze out of her pores, even though she started out really broody. Even though, like me at 22, she wanted 7 children, one after the other. She will struggle to love them. She will treat her children the way that I treat my cat. That while she will never leave her children out on a limb, they will never go without food. They will never go without shelter. And when it's raining outside, she will always, in an irritated, grudging state, go out and, cat, please come inside because it's raining. She will never comprehensively ignore the needs of her children the way that I can't ignore that my cat wants to go, my cat wants to come. But every last whim of the animal or every last whim of the child, the woman will find it burdensome, and at some point, even though she was doting over the son or this daughter, she will say, I don't even know why I have children. I can't afford them. I can't stand to be a mom. I hate it. Postpartum depression sometimes is as a result of unloving husbands. Understand, it's a thing. A woman that from the age of 19 wanted 7 children, at 22 the yearning knocked on her door like a person outside in the rain. And then she finally has a baby and is depressed, is unable to love it, or in the beginning, she might be like, oh my goodness, this is my son. Oh my goodness, this is my daughter. But as the months progress, as the years progress, the crying baby, the needy toddler, the nagging preschooler in a mall as a single mom that you have taken to the wimpy, that wants this toy and is now screaming and throwing his toys out the cot at the wimpy. If you don't have a loving husband with whom you can discipline that unruly toddler at the wimpy, you will feel like, what am I supposed to do? Listen, I've brought you to the McDonald's. What more must I do? Like, Papa, I work to take care of you guys. I try to make sure that y'all are fine. You will get a mother yelling at children at the top of her voice, like she is screaming at a husband that has just come back home at 3 a.m. in the morning. Children, like when you can no longer pride yourself in the glory of children running to you in the morning, getting into your bed, but rather all that you do with children is yell. You're always screaming, you're always shouting. No, don't do that. Don't pick that up. Apparently, you know, there are parents like those. All they do is yell. They want their kids in a neat little bunch, and when the child does one random strange thing, hey, Temba, one little thing, like, yeah, she can never appreciate Temba's, like, impressive feats. She can never appreciate Temba's impressive feats, like the fact that he's an A student at school. It's nothing. For her, it's like, okay, so you do well, whatever. But when Temba is busy riding his little bicycle in the yard, too loud, and he keeps on hitting the gate and whatnot, it's like, Temba, stop doing it. When Temba has left toys on the floor, Temba, a woman that is always yelling at a child, but can never see anything good that the kid is doing, or says nothing about what the kid, what good stuff the kid is doing, because the child is expected to be good. The child is demanded to be good. And so therefore you don't praise goodness in the child, because you ought to be like this vele mus. There's no other way to be mus Temba. But you yell at Temba when they are wrong. However, you don't highlight, like I said, the black community is just rich with negative reinforcement but no positive reinforcement. So it's skewed. Kids are used to being yelled at but never praised. Never accoladed. That's what was the case with me. In school, I was such a star student. My mother could not care less about how smart I was, to a point of not even knowing what grade I was in. The only grades she was aware of was grade 8 and matric, because it was the first and last year of high school. But between there, I could have been in grade 10, 11, 9. Yo, she was confused. Teachers loved me, but she didn't even, like, listen, when I first enrolled at Wits, she and my sister overheard a conversation between them being worried that I was going to fail at varsity. What makes you think I'm going to fail at varsity? Listen, I was good at school in high school. They so had no confidence in me. They gossiped to me saying that they think I'm just going to flunk in varsity. You do remember the grade 9 teacher that finally, when I begged you to go to school at parents' meeting, the teacher could not do much. She could do nothing but sing praises. You haven't since been to collect my report. The situation was so bad with my mom that while all other kids had their reports, while most kids had their reports collected by parents on parents' evening at the end of the term, I had to wait. I never knew if I passed or failed, but I mean, I knew that I passed. Until first day of school, next term. Because then if your parents didn't collect your report, I guess you get it in school. Here it is, guys. So I would only find out at the beginning of each new term what my results were, because my mom didn't collect my report before the holidays. All throughout high school, except one time in grade 9 when I dragged her. I made her go, because I knew my teacher was going to sing praises of me. I thought after that day she would never ever leave. I thought after that day she would never basically neglect all that, but she did. She just went back to the drawing board, because that's what happens when hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. That's what happens when you have a deadbeat dad. That's what happens when you have an unloving husband, an unloving father to children. And that's also what happens when, after you divorce, after your baby daddy and you are not together, you then keep on dating these lackluster randoms. They're so unloving, but you just keep giving them sex and then having new babies with them. I mean, Papa, you keep on just dating and hoping that it's gonna get, because listen, the judgment on Eve is that from now on your desire will be for your husband. So these women will keep dating for as long as they have youth in their bones, for as long as there are still men who are like, hey, hello, my size, for as long as somebody's willing to shell, and for as long as she can still find it, be attracted to men, she will date them. But when then they don't love her, she will literally just go through life being disillusioned. And all the heartbreaks that she endures from men who are supposed to love women the way that Christ loved the church, they're going to produce apathy towards children and feeling like these kids are a burden. Feeling like, listen, I've got enough pain in my life. I've got enough trauma. I've got enough trouble. I'm working to the nail to do this for you, to pay this for you, to do whatever. That's enough. Like, I'm doing enough. I'm feeding you. Your skin is glowing. It's enough. Neglect, abandonment of children happens as a result of a lack of love. Here, guys, and I raised myself. I understand I raised myself because of a deadbeat parent. Like, my dad was just a deadbeat dad, and my mom, albeit being gorgeous, every boyfriend, even after my dad that she had, was just a monster. She couldn't concentrate. So understand, listen, I remember essentially procuring new school uniform for myself for lost and found. Because after my mom bought my school uniform in grade 8, she never bought it again. Who in the world wears the same school uniform for 5 years of high school? No one. I once had a jersey that I drip dried. I hung it on the washing line to dry, and it stretched out and no longer had its elasticity. And I remember my friends used to call my jersey mohodu, because it was just like lying on my body. I got fed up of wearing that mohodu, even though I asked my mom, please, I need a jersey. My school jersey drip dried. It was a mistake. It was an error. It's a jersey. It's like clothes. Sometimes they break, they tear, so buy me a new shirt, right? Yeah, I asked my mom for a new jersey. I asked my mom for new school shoes, dog. School shoes. There was a time when I walked around with one of my school shoes in grade 10. Since I was wearing them since grade 8. Had like my school shoe in front was torn. It's like I was a poor child, but I wasn't. My mom was a middle income woman, and my shoe like that, like a puppet. And I had to like bend my toes in my shoes to make sure that my foot does not slip out of my shoes. I used to walk awkwardly, and I would tell my mom, my shoes, look at them. I literally would show my mom my shoe. I'd be like, look at my shoe. And she'd be like, what the heck? What, must I go to school like with this? So what did I do? One fateful day in grade 10. Yeah. Mamelang, let's go I was very popular in school. Me, I had a way around things. So I used to make my school uniform look fashionable. Nobody knew I had these issues, these challenges. Nobody knew that I had this problem because I concealed it really well. And I even rocked my mohodu with fashionability. Maybe it's because of the way that I carried myself. So everybody just did not care that it looked like maybe I was trying to make that a thing. I didn't care. But my shoe, I know Shem, I was sick and tired of walking around like I'm doing the Gitaza jive or whatever. So one day I went to Lost and Found, and the guy that mans the Lost and Found, I was like, after netball practice, I lost my school uniform. I just want to check in here if it's here. I know, brother man just opened for me, yawned it. And I went and I grabbed a new jersey. I grabbed a new tie. I just like I went shopping in there. I grabbed a new, my skirt was, I did not know how to iron my school uniform. So I would iron my shirt, my skirt, until it, when you iron something without putting a cloth on top of it, it gets all shiny. Yeah, no, my skirt was shiny in grade 10. And I was told by some girl in my class that, Karabo, your skirt looks like that because you iron on it. You need to put it was a colored girl. It's because you iron on it. You need to go and put a cloth and then iron with the cloth on top so your skirt doesn't look like that. I was like, thanks for the advice. And next time I ironed my skirt properly, but I knew that I couldn't carry on with this crazy skirt. So I got a new skirt. Our skirts were pleated. I got a new skirt. I got a new tie. I got a new jersey and a blazer. Because my blazer was the one that she got for me in grade 8. It was huge. I don't know why I bought it that way. The shoulders were just like duck yellow. I looked like a football player. I didn't like it at all. My blazer just did not fit right. Oh, it was big. My shoulders. Yeah, I didn't like my blazer. Even though it was perfectly functional in grade 10 after 2 years. After all, it is a blazer, like resilient material. And in my school, summer, winter, come rain or shine, it didn't matter. We had to wear blazers. We could not wear our blazers. It was like part of conduct. It was like, it made us look polished, so we could not wear a blazer. Ian man, like, do you like it when we're just boiling all day long? What's going on? We could not wear our blazers. Like, it was a thing. Like, if a prefect found you without a blazer, you would get written down. You know how hot jackets are? Anyway, whatever. The only time we could survive life without blazers was in matric. But before then, shem. And only then, because our matric jerseys had our year and everything at the back, and so we had to sort of kind of floss it, and that's why they let us not wear blazers in matric. But in grade 8 to 11, if you didn't wear a blazer, you were a danger zone. So I couldn't do without a blazer, but I hated mine. I couldn't do without a blazer, but I hated mine because it made me look like an American football player, and I didn't like that. So even though my blazer was perfectly functional, in grade 10, I got a new blazer, I got a new tie, I got a new skirt, and I got a new jersey. I got new socks. You know those long ones that are school socks, with like school, yeah, because like, yeah, my mom bought me like uniform in grade 8, y'all, and did not buy it again. And y'all know winter socks, or socks at all. Like, you wear socks one season, one winter, 1 year. After that, listen, these things go in your feet, in your shoes. Can't be repeating any of that year on year. Can't be repeating any of that year on year. Like, you need new socks every single year. And even then, every single term, every semester. If you're rocking them every day, especially the white ones. My white socks were yellow by grade 10. Hi, my mom. Not only were they yellow, you guys, but they were, you know how those white socks that you wear in school, the summer socks, because there's like winter socks that are school CI, that come up to your knees. There are the summer ones that, you know, you fold like that over your buccaneers. Oh, those are the ones that I had were not Parana donkey, dog, Parana donkey. Like, this one was perfect and cushy and soft. Lena, it was like banana peel, like, and it was yellowish in color. You be out doing like yellow and white on your feet, and nobody would say anything because, I mean, Papa, it's school uniform. Why are they going to be out here judging you for your white socks that are now turning a little bit yellow, but still, your socks are different? And the one that is yellowish is so thin because it's like you've been washing it. But this one is healthy. And why is this one healthy? Listen, I don't know. Because in your sock drawer, for some strange reason, there's always just a donkey. My white socks were like that. Hashem, lost and found. Me, I went and I procured for myself 3 new pairs of socks. And understand, socks are cheap. Socks, school socks, the white ones especially, not the ones that are school CI, that you have to go to like economic outfitters or whatever, where it is that they actually sell school uniforms. But you can actually go to a Woolies or a Checkers or a Pick and Pay or whatever, where it is that they sell. Well, back then, Pick and Pay never used to have a clothing department, but they're cheap. They're cheap. In a package, you could get one for like, listen, like or $70 or whatever. They were cheap, and if at all you got 3 pairs, you were set at least for the term. Not 3, 5. You were set for the term. You just wash them on the weekend, wear them again for a term. Everton. My mom bought me uniform once at the beginning of grade 8 when I was studying high school. Wapuma dog, I'm not even lying. Wapuma me. Hey guys. She bought me socks, clothes once, opened my game. So in grade 10, I was like, listen, I need a haul of school uniform. I don't want this mohodu anymore, because even though I'm trying to make it look fashionable, like I am Cher in Clueless, I'm not okay with mohodu. I wanted a jersey that fitted. I wanted a blazer that was more snug on my body. I wanted a what do you call this? I wanted not only winter socks, but I also wanted summer socks. Yeah, because I was gonna wash them, and I don't care if they had somebody else's athlete's foot. Like here. And I thoroughly went and I procured for myself school uniform in Lost and Found. I was not yet born again, so all that theft, all those lies, they've been atoned for, removed from me as far as the east is from the left, is from the west. So God is not holding it against me because it was theft. Like Papa, it was somebody else's stuff. Like my jersey, the one that I got from Lost and Found. It even has somebody's name on it, like on the label, like here at the back. Like say it was written there, like Carol or like Cassandra. Oh goodness! Like, I took Cassandra's jersey. Right? But Cassandra won't miss it because her mom and her dad are going to buy her a new one, right? She didn't go to Lost and Found. But I took like a uniform from there. I literally was busy trying school uniforms on inside Lost and Found, and the guy who, it was like a school's groundsman or whatever, that opened for me. He was just standing outside smoking a cigarette, waiting for me to finish digging while I've been there. And when I was done, I was like, I found my stuff, thank you. He was like, okay, Sisi, whatever, okay, Nana. And I left with a new haul of school uniform, took it home, washed it. And next week at school on Monday, I was out here rocking a school uniform, looking all fly and fabulous. Like, yeah. And blazer thing. I remember I had like this big blazer that was just too big for me. Yeah, well, this time around I got one that was so snug that it was, I determined to make it look like a way, so when I was on the come up, if you've watched the movie Clueless, it was like my favorite movie on the come up. There were these jackets that were really popular that pretty much came up to like they were not all the way down, but they sort of kind of came up to here, but not here per se. I'm only saying this because my body's only showing up to here, but basically just underneath your hip where it starts. And those were very popular. Those were the coats, the little dolban, the little jackets that Cher and Dion in Clueless used to wear. So that blazer, I got it out of Lost and Found precisely because it had that kind of look. It fit very snug, and it did not go all the way underneath my bum as a blazer, the way that blazers go, but it was just slightly above my waist, and its arms were not all the way down. It sort of kind of fit up to there. It was like pretty much small. I was a very skinny girl, so the girth of it was okay on me, but I was a long girl too. I was tall and thin. So that blazer did not come down there where a blazer is supposed to come, because it's supposed to keep you warm in winter. No. It came up to here, up to like here somewhere, and I was content with that because I would grab the jersey and pop it out over here and then fold the jersey over my blazer to create a look. And if at all I was wearing a winter shirt underneath, I would then let the winter shirt be like poofy, like with that, like just I was trying to be fashionable. Is what I'm getting at with school uniform, and it worked out. And I kept that uniform until matric. I didn't go and swindle again at Lost and Found. But I'm trying to help you understand that that's how I raised myself. My mom didn't buy me school uniform. I procured it through banditry at Lost and Found. And I would just, through life, and just like keep taking care of myself in ways that I just did not have care, because I was being raised by an unloved woman that got married. I was being raised by a woman that would never ever leave me out on a limb, that would never starve me, that would never leave me without a bed to sleep on. But she also was not careful for me even at all, even in the slightest. So basically everything else I did it for myself. I had the rest of my back that my mother was supposed to have. But when you are unloved and severely mistreated by never mind your husband, but every boyfriend you get thereafter, comprehend that children are going to be a tiresome burden on you. Children are going to be very, very heavy on you. You might start out liking them, loving them, and understand I was like the worst recipient of my mom's sorrow, because when she was pregnant, their marriage was already falling apart. And frankly, like, I was conceived during, like unhappy couples. They don't love each other. They don't every so often, in spite of not loving each other, still have sex. I feel like they conceived me. But not about each other. And when then my mom was pregnant, she told me, that my dad accused her of cheating because the baby could not possibly be his, because they were not frequently laying with each other. And the one time when they did, there was a conception, and my dad was like, it can't be my child. Why would it be? Because I haven't slept with you in so long. Until I popped out and looked just like him. These men that deny babies, yeah, kids out here be looking like them. Anyway, whatever. Throughout the pregnancy, especially the second one, he told my mom that she's fat, she's not even all that beautiful, nothing matters of her. That, yeah, and my mother, like I told you, with her pregnancy with me and my older sister, didn't even have a single stretch mark. She was at the height of her glory, in her 20s, and she bounced back like Kim Kardashian. She bounced back like Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner. That family that just keeps bouncing back from pregnancies like nothing ever happened. Yeah, she bounced back like that. So essentially, she was a very glorious pregnancy. This phone and itchiness, man, come on, just work with me. She bounced back like the Kardashians. And yet, having that kind of a glorious pregnancy was nonetheless reviled, told that she was ugly, fat, and that the baby in the stomach was not hers. When you give birth to a child under those conditions, you are going to struggle to love it. Because I will go back to the thing that I'm trying to say. You don't get to be made first, oh Adam, and not love Eve. And you don't get to put babies in the belly of Eve and not love Eve. Because then on that day, you are contributing to the neglect, abandonment, and unloved state even of the children in the stomach. I don't know how many women I have observed in my life, in my tenure as a young woman, that were married, whose husband didn't love them. Whose husband, however, in spite of not loving these women, strangely had grand, big affections for the kids. I told you about the one guy in one of my other videos, about the one guy whose baby mama, he kept on telling me when he was busy fraternizing with me that the baby mama trapped him, and that's why the baby's around. But oh my goodness, I love my daughter. I didn't want to be with a guy that had a kid, but I liked this guy so much that I was willing to accommodate his child. And when he was telling me about the backstory of how this child came into the world, it was with a woman that he wasn't even, it was like a one night stand or whatever. Or just a no, it wasn't a one night stand, because you can't really trap a man with a one night stand, right? He claims that he was trapped. It was like one of those sex buddies. Every so often they have sex, and this guy said that this woman trapped me with this baby. But I love my daughter. Yes, that dichotomy in that conversation coming out of that man's mouth, I was like, how do you love a baby that you feel was thrown in your face like mpama? Dog, how do you love mpama? How do you love mpama? Because mpama is forced on you. You do see it coming. Or maybe you might not see it coming, but frankly, it is received as an insult and affront. Because you're saying that your daughter is impama right now. It's an impama. And this here bugaboo thoroughly spoke about his own girl child as impama, but impama that he just loved so very much, even though it gave him a blue eye. He said that his baby mama trapped him. I mean, his baby mama is unloved by the baby daddy. That she feels, that he feels trapped him. He feels that she trapped him. So and then he said that he loved his daughter, and indeed, I saw the love that he had for his daughter because of his Facebook. His child was like all over his Facebook, right? How, as a woman, when at some point you loved a guy and he says that you trapped him with a child, how do you look at that child? Especially when that child is a girl. When her dad dotes over her as a daughter while he despises you, you will end up having animosity against your child, because after all, this is the judgment on Eve. From now on, your desire will be for your husband. So Eve wants Adam, and Eve wants the affection of Adam high and low. And if Eve does not receive the affection of Adam, it is the sorrow of her soul, because that's her judgment. If then Adam loves the children that are born from the stomach of Eve, but does not love Eve, Eve will feel robbed of affection from her husband. By those children. She will feel robbed by those children. She will feel like the children are taking from her the love of her love. And seeing as the Lord made Eve for Adam, and the priority in relationships ought to be that wife first or husband first, then children, then everything else. You ought prioritize your spouse and then your children. That's how it ought go, because that's how God made things. So if a man prioritizes his children above his wife, the order is all discombobulated. And this judgment, this curse on Eve to basically love her, not love her husband, but desire her husband. It'll cause hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. And she will project it on her children. Your dad is supposed to love me, but he loves you. She's not even supposed to see the differentiation between the dad's love over her versus her children, because of the way that he loves her so much that now the love naturally flows to the kids. But if he only loves the children, but doesn't love her. He will feel like the kids are taking away her affections, and especially these children are girls. That's what creates narcissistic personality disorder in women. Where it is that literally you will not want your daughter to marry, you will be jealous of your daughter, you will compete with your daughter, you will wear the same clothes, the same earrings as your child, you will think you're your child, you will flirt with your daughter's boyfriends, or you will be proud when your daughter endures hardship and romances. Yeah, mothers are that whack. Look at Adam. My mom is like that. Look at Adam. Look at the man in the equation, or look at the men in the equation. They so unloved women that now their adored daughters or sons became the victims of these women. So I told you about the one guy that said that his baby mama trapped him, but it meant how he loved his daughter. That baby mama probably even still to this day has a passive aggression, unless she ever since then married a man that loved her so much that he more than compensated for the love that she did not have in that guy. Because at the end of the day, from now on, your desire will be for your husband. So if a man, somebody else, filled that void, it is potentially true that the mother could still be able to employ a great deal of love over her daughter, because somebody fixed the damage control. When some other dude did a drive-by shooting, a hit and a run. But if there was no corrective man, if there was no righteous man that stood up to the occasion and loved this woman, she would still feel robbed of affection too much to award it to her daughter, enough for her to become a narcissistic mother. My prayer is that she has ever since then been married to a guy that makes all kinds of sense, because she was not married to him. Only not hit and quit it, but 6 buddies that a baby came out of that. Okay, yeah. Another guy, not so much however, but another guy. When I was working at MTN, this was a couple that together they worked at MTN in marketing. Listen, you work in the same building with your husband and on the same floor, only different departments within the same overarching department. Listen, you are at like the proper grapevine rumor. This man was such a prolific cheat. It was, this man not only cheated on this woman, but he would flirt so much with women in the office. It's bad enough that men flirt with colleagues when they're married, but their wives are either stay-at-home wives or they work for other companies. But when you are flirting with other women, with your wife working with you in the building, what in the world? And people speak, rumors spread. And when people are really below the belt, understand, they will tease you for your lackluster loose cannon of a husband. Her husband made a pass at me personally as Karabo. This man, there's a guy that I dated that I thought was Christian, that was acquainted with him also working in marketing. And when this boyfriend of mine at the time was telling me what in the world was going on over there, I should not have even listened to him, because frankly he was gossiping. That guy was not bearing fruit, it was just nonsense. But anyway, like, stick with me and see where I'm getting at with that. This guy that I was dating told me, because he was acquainted with these guys, all the stuff that this guy does. He told me that let's say his name was Leajo. He was like, yo, Leajo is busy with this girl in marketing, and he's hollering at this other girl in finance and whatnot with his wife right there, because he feels as if though he's made it and he doesn't understand why he has to be stymied by Mosadwiwa. What in the world? And I was like, but this guy works in the same company, works in the same overarching department, albeit different sort of kind of business areas, business units, with his wife. Same floor. They can see each other, walk to each other's. How is he getting away with this? I couldn't figure it out. I told you in one of my other videos that I had angst against marriages. I saw that there was an issue inside black marriages in particular. I couldn't understand it. And this here marriage was in my face, and the man in question had made a pass at me. But he didn't care. And his wife worked right there in the building. I mean, that kind of scandal shouldn't have popped out. Nonetheless, this woman kept a straight face, and I don't know how she was able to do it, but she wasn't able to do it, right? Because she was among the most prolific abusers of my person with witchcraft. Ultimately, when you are to be picking away at other women because your man is so insufficient, then of course, you need to see how the Lord God Almighty is going to literally unravel from the root the cause of all of this harlotry on the part of women. It starts kabanabana. Listen, I am leaving this ministry. This is my last video. I am not going to be pursued by lama totalawa that don't even care that they're married, and I know that they're married, and some of them just got this like litany of STDs. If I don't save myself, I have endured black apathy for long enough to know when to start running, when to start moving, when to start packing my bags, because I realize that nobody's coming for me. And you sure you've got an every man for himself mindset. So you'll take care of each other yourself, Karabo. Well, I'm taking care of me now. I'm taking care of myself so I don't end up dead with black people being theatrical and full of mourning at my funeral, when this could have been prevented. This guy not only cheated like this on his wife in broad daylight, right there in the office where they worked together, but this woman, she wasn't my friend on Facebook, but my friend was her friend. And one time when I was going through Facebook and I saw a photo of them tagged together, you know how on Facebook, I don't know if it's still the case today, but if at all, like, somebody is in a photo and you have tagged them, if you hover over their their body. It'll basically highlight them. It'll be highlighted and you can click on it and go to their profile. So I hovered over this photo and this girl was tagged. And since she was my colleague, you know how sometimes you cyber stalk colleagues? You know how sometimes you just be out just cyber stalking colleagues like it's ordinary? Okay, I was like, oh, I want to see what's going on with this woman. And I click on her photo from my friend's photo where she's tagged with this girl, this woman. And I go into her profile. And her profile is one of those yawning ones, no security, no only friends can watch me. Like proper everybody, it's just public, okay? So I'm like, oh, it's public. Let's see. And I go in there. And her profile is like yawning for everybody to see, right? So again, and that's like it, y'all. It was actually heartbreaking to see. It was really heartbreaking to look at all that activity because of what I found. It was really very saddening because in her profile there were photos of her and her children in like a whole bunch of photographs, right next to every fifth photo, every like 10th photo. And this is a married woman. Marriage is about family, and if at all you've got a Facebook, if at all you've got an Instagram, it's gonna be littered if you're married with your children, your husband, the feats that you embark on, every trip you go on, Gold Reef City, candy floss, just chilling in your lounge, holding hands, hugging, whatever. The way that you see all this romantic activity when you are still dating. Like when I was on Facebook, my profile was just littered with my ex-boyfriend and his photos and everything, because I was in love everywhere. Just our relationship. Yeah, just every second photo was just him. It's him and I. And that's how it was with a whole chunk of my friends that were in relationships with boyfriends. But this chick was married and she had children, two daughters with this guy. Yeah, she had 2 daughters with this guy. And in her Facebook profile, it was just, like I said, a whole bunch of photos of her and some random people that I don't know. She wasn't in my life, so I wouldn't know very many people. Colleagues, herself, her children were in there a whole bunch. And every 10th photo, like I said, you might find her husband in those photos, and even then in a group setting. Not so much them together. Like Erica Kirk just recently lost her husband, Charlie Kirk. Everybody knows that story. If you don't know, now you know. And if you don't know, where you been? However, after losing her husband, photos have been getting shared. I don't have Instagram, so I don't watch people's things on Instagram. I don't follow anybody on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm just only on YouTube. But things that are on their Instagram, on their YouTube, whatnot, are shared now on YouTube, on like wherever it is that they might find photo places. They're now shared on YouTube, and it's just photos of them together with children, walking together with their kids, just showing family. That's what a married couple should look like. That's what your social media should look like. In the Black community, there's like a whole trend where it is that women are complaining about not being shared on their boyfriends or their husbands' socials. And I'm like, listen, if a man is not willing to wear you like a lapel, a badge, then get out. Because an unloved woman that gets married, the earth cannot bear up under her. You cannot let yourself, if you're still a girlfriend over there, you can't allow it to get to a point of marriage because you're going to be frustrated. But sometimes these women get caught off guard while they're dating. Everything is hunky-dory. But once they get married, listen, these men become cold as ice. They become cold as ice, and you will see it because of the passive aggression in the women's photographs, in the women's Facebooks, in their women's socials. This chick, barely anywhere was her husband found, but there was a whole bunch of her and her children. You would think that she's a single mother who every so often co-parents, but no, she lives with this man in the same house, and yet barely ever is he found in photographs where it's her and her children, her and her friends, her and her life at home. Barely is this man featured. It evidences a passive aggression. It evidences an anger. It says, listen, I'm not going to post you. I'm not going to insist on taking a photo with you and posting it. When you have got such a social media so empty of your husband, you are saying you're on revolt. You are boycotting his arrogance. You're boycotting his aloofness, his coldness. You are saying, I am not going to put you on my socials because you don't put me on yours. And you're also unloving at home. So no, I'm not gonna beef up your ego, because women become that passive aggression and insist on emasculating men when they get angry. They then say, I'm not gonna beef up your ego by putting a whole chunk of you on my social media when, listen, you treat me like trash at home. When I was dating my ex-boyfriend, I used to hide all of his indiscretions when we were dating, but that was not sustainable. I pretended we were happy even when we were not, because I wanted the world to think that we were excellent. But once you're married, you feel trapped if you're not loved. So I would have also stopped posting him on my socials because he was already starting to go awry. Listen, I am not joking with you right now. When I saw her social media, I was like, this is why she's such a cold little nutbag, because she was a cold little nutbag. She was mean-spirited in the office. She wasn't greedy. She didn't greet. She was just like, she was Medusa. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. She was a Medusa, that chick. Like, she didn't like women. She didn't like anyone, but why would you like women when your man focuses on them more than you? So she basically took it out on everybody else. We were happy to flirt with her husband, but her man was the one who's basically trancas. We're not in a bunch. Well, I mean, after going in her social media, again, I had to open for the cat and I felt what? An irritation. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. You feel it's a guy. Her social medias, yeah. After I was on her social media, and so because I was on her social media, I then, like I said, she was cold, this chick, right? To other women. But then when I was inside her social media, her Facebook, I then, since her husband was in there, right? You know how you be cyber stalking colleagues. So I just carried on the cyber stalking trajectory. It just was maintained. So I just clicked on the husband's profile, and in her profile, I didn't find him tagged in her photos, like when I hovered my mouse over his photos, but in her profile it was written married to Leago, etc. Right? So I click on Leago, etc. And when I go in his social media, Leago was worse. With Leago, it was photos of him at all exploit parties, just social events with a whole bunch of boys, men, random strange people encircling him. That this is a married couple. Random strange people encircling him that I didn't know, but then again, they were not in my life, so of course I wouldn't know them. But I say I didn't know them because I couldn't find her. So with her, she had her husband every 10 photos. Whereas with him, you would have to, scroll down. The very same way that you would get caught in a rabbit hole if you stay inside TikTok and just keep scrolling and then you find yourself in a weird part. Yeah, if you did not discipline yourself to get out of that profile, you would just keep scrolling, trying to find this woman. But his daughters, everywhere. His 2 daughters with this woman were everywhere. So essentially, if at all some strange woman from outside were to go inside this man's profile, she would not know unless she went to his bio, where it said married to, let's say her name was Tracy. Married to Tracy Sbanban. Like, unless you went into his bio to see if he's to find his relationship status, you wouldn't know that he is a married man. Because out of the litany of people with whom he's in those photos, no one there was evidently either his girlfriend or wife. But it was clear that he was the father of 2 girls. These men, they know that important information to present before a woman is that I am single and I do have children. But sometimes they will literally not highlight that I either have a wife, or I am divorcing, or I am divorced, or I have a girlfriend or a maid, because in spite of being very much in a relationship of sorts, they still are with room to be with other people. What are you doing, swinging like you are Will Smith and Jada? Like, I don't understand it. They leave room open, yawning even on their social media to let women know that I'm not really all that serious with the woman I'm with. Even though you might seem married to Tracy Sbanban. Come on, we're getting a divorce. They leave enough leg room to basically create doubt in women that they're busy fraternizing with, that we're not even all that happy and I'm getting a divorce. Because women insist that in a relationship with, or in a marriage to, you will let that happen on your social media because you don't want to get into a fight, a scuffle with your wife about the fact that you don't want to have to reveal your relationship status on Facebook. But he will create enough doubt inside, a side piece, a mistress, and that I'm not even all that much in love, because listen, in my social media, all I got there are my daughters. These are my cherished possession. But I don't care for this woman. I don't care about her. Yes, like it, but basically like an intra like that then wants to holler at you. Women, you put yourselves in a position to accommodate men like these, whose social media is littered with their children, but not with their wives. Priority number 1, according to God, is your wife, your spouse, then your children. You leave your mother and your father, you cleave to your wife, and the 2 of you become one flesh. A man that does not love his baby mama, his wife, but claims to be adoring of his children, essentially is destroying the futures of those children, because their mother is going to have a hard time loving them due to the fact that she doesn't have love from her husband that you're busy flirting with. You left yourself to go and marry divorced men that were like this to their wives. Hey guys, yes, then I don't know what's going on in the black community. Do you understand? I don't understand what is happening in the black community, but this I know. I grew up being friends with black women with whom we were kindred spirits. We were similar. The way that we were to our boyfriends was also similar. How faithful we were, what we were willing to do for them, how far we would go for them. Yeah, essentially what girlfriend I was to my ex-boyfriend was pretty much the same girlfriend that any of my girls were to their boyfriends. So when a man comes and tells you that a woman was A, B, C, D, Q, and R, and Z, out just speaking tall tales about this woman, they're speaking tall tales about you. Because the very same way that you are in a relationship with him is the way that the woman that he now despises was like with him. He just got tired of her. You are the same thing largely. Black women, niafana. You are all very domesticated. You all bend over backwards like no man's business for men. You treat them like they're kings even though they treat you like trash. You keep taking them back even though they don't make no sense. You cook them the baddest meals in the game and they burp and thereafter go and see their boys and don't come back until 3 a.m. Banjai. So if a man is out here lamenting about a woman being a wheezing cough in his chest. It's potentially true that she might be that thing, but a wheezing cough of a woman is manufactured. It is not born. It's made. It's not born. It's made. I watched my own mother go gnarly. She became dark. In the early stages, she was very sweet. A wicked woman that is like a dripping tap, or that is a horrible mother, is made. Large. She doesn't just pop out of the works like that. They're very sweet when they're still in their 20s, when they're still young, when they have their first children, but then they go awry. Something changes. And when then you look at the root cause of this change, you will discover that it's some dude. It's some ghoulish man that, however, prospers to go and find a second wife, a third, and a fourth. And a manje, seeing as the desire of a woman will be for her husband. When a man just replaces you like you ain't jack, like the socks I replaced in high school and the blazer and the jersey and the tie, you will more so feel like you're worthless. And then when you gaze upon the glory of growing children, when you have been exsanguinated of yours, when you have lost your glory because you're no longer as beautiful, after all, you're no longer as young, more so are you going to have a passive aggression and a bitterness against especially girl children as a woman, or more so are you going to be, jealous of the girlfriends that your son brings home, to a point of being that momster-in-law, that horrible mother-in-law that can't stand every girl that her son brings home. The unlovingness of a woman towards society the unlovingness of a woman in the society tends to be rooted in her husband. It's the judgment of Eve. From now on, your desire will be for your husband, and if at all your husband does not give you love and he just wants to rule you, you will develop a bitterness. You cannot listen. I told you the story with my cat. You struggle, and my cat is not just like, that's a story, my story with an animal, but I've got experiences as a daughter under a mother that was unloved. Listen, you as a child, you will be just neglected. My mother is essentially what we call lucky today. I don't like that word, but I also can't call her blessed. So I don't know what to use, fortunate, because of the fact that I'm in Christ. Otherwise, she would have mourned me long ago, because her negligence nearly caused my suicide. And the abandonment, the abuse of my person by a whole bunch of people in the country nearly ended my life in jail, just from murderous intentions, homicide. Now that I'm above suicide. I don't do any of that anymore. I don't contemplate such nonsense anymore. I'm above it. Because I'm in Christ now. I know that there's hope for me because of Jesus. But my goodness, my mother is a fortunate one, because I was kept together with sticky tape when I was 20. She would have mourned a child that she would have ignored before she died. Because, like I said, black parenting lazy. But this lazy black parenting is rooted largely in the fact that, because you insist on it, due to the fact that there was just a cancer in the black man, where they imagine themselves as simps when they love women. So, like, you can't love a woman, because if you love her, what in the world kind of man does that, right? An idiot that is malevolent, diabolical, dastardly, and of Satan, because it is wholesome, virtuous, and a thing that God insists upon. To love women the way that Christ loved the church. So to think that you're a simp when you love a woman, don't you see that's a strategy of the devil? It is killing the nuclear family. And in the black community, not only are black women objects for sex and shit, they just want to like ride us. They cannot love us when we are even more serious than just sex buddies. And they perpetually compete us with each other right next to adore our children but not us. They love the children but not the mothers. When it's supposed to frankly flow into the children, the love that you are awarding your girlfriend or your wife. There's just this cancer metastasizing at a most violent rate that if I don't constantly move from pillar to post to give myself chemotherapy, I will die from it. I will die. This man utterly and comprehensively refused to put his wife anywhere in his social media. Only his daughters. She had him every so often somewhere in there, and he was busy in the office all over the show. I then had a friend that during the time when the two of us were dating our boyfriends, both appeared very happy. Friends on Facebook. If anything, I met her on Facebook, but we ended up becoming darling friends. This chick was very happy, it appeared, in her relationship with her boyfriend, while I also appeared happy in my relationship with my boyfriend at the time. Same age, on the come. I get entered into this trashy situation that I am in today. I get off Facebook because I first came to Christ. When I came to Christ, I let go of Facebook. So we stopped communicating as much, because I said we met on Facebook, but we did become offline friends as well. But because of my disappearance from Facebook and Jeffella, we just kind of like things slipped through the cracks. This chick, well, I don't see her much for a couple of like years, and what she's doing with life, I don't see her, right? While I'm trying to do faith and love Jesus, I then get hit with like a sorrow from here to Timbuktu. I lose everything. One day I go inside Facebook after my account was deactivated. She notices that I'm deactivated and then post on my wall, "Yo, my friend, where have you been? It's been a minute. Holla." I see her post, but because I'm going through nonsense, I don't respond. I then deactivate again, I disappear. I reappear again on Facebook, reactivate my account, and this time I don't deactivate it. And she comments, "You're back again, say something." I respond to her. This time, however, she's married. The first time around when she said "you're back," she was engaged to be married to this guy, and they still appeared kind of happy on Facebook. This time around, however, she was married. This time around, however, she was married already to the guy that she was dating when we were friends before I came to Christ. and we were both sharing our relationships online, she was markedly changed. Markedly changed. From the woman that I used to chat with that was chappy, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed, she was now competitive. Listen, I'm going through hell on earth. I'm going through hell on earth. I wanna confide in her because I don't have any friends anymore. Everything of mine has fallen apart, and she hasn't betrayed me with witchcraft. So because she hasn't come at me with a flying kick, I tell myself that listen, this is a friend. Like, let me just keep her around. Even though I don't want to be I don't want to impose on anybody and neither be imposed on given my life circumstances. Let me just accommodate her and see what in the world she gotta say. I opened my world to her, and from the very onset, her tone has changed. She's competitive.